Hot off the presses, we've got Marvel Rivals Season 3 patch notes. Let's take a look. First off, Emma Frost gets an interesting set of changes. When at 99 energy, the DPS goes down by 10 to 110 a second. And I didn't even realize that the jump up was so big here. At 100 energy, it also goes down by 10. But fun fact, it was at 140 a second. Well, originally 150. Now it's at 140. So even at the highest levels of Emma Frost's damage peaks, it's going to just be a bit lower. Not sure that's going to account for too much, because this number is relatively insane if you actually can get it to that point. Further nerfs reduce Diamond Form's damage reduction from 35 to 25% and reduce the energy cost of her ultimate down to 3,400. The Thing has needed some help in the flyer meta, and hey, it's clobbering time. Brand new ability, Battle Blitz. The Thing leaps towards enemies, gaining 25% damage reduction. Leap targeting distance to enemies is 20 meters, which is decently far away, okay? Auto lock on dive, that's kind of nuts. Sounds a little too good, frankly. Stone Haymaker has a new effect now. It will knock down hit flying enemies. So you will ground enemies with your alternate fire and knock those flyers block off. Wow, that is insane. The Thing went from easily counterable to now maybe top meta. Now, importantly, it does seem like this is on a shared cooldown, and we've seen other abilities that are similar to that, such as Thor has shared cooldowns with some of his. When the Thing uses the offensive version of this, it shares the same cooldown from his defensive one, but he tends to get 2 charges with a small delay between. So you will be able to dive into a flyer, haymaker them onto the ground, and then after a couple seconds, as long as you survive, get back to your teammate to peel and apply damage reduction to both of you. That's also interesting because before there wasn't really a way for the Thing to effectively go in aggressively with the damage reduction and then come back out again. Well, at least not so meaningfully. Like, you would need a teammate to be able to help you do that, which usually was your other tank or maybe a flanker that you were going to. So this expands even further, where he has the option to target any enemy, get that damage reduction, and maybe that means getting on any matchup that he's strong against. Let's say a Magneto or a Strange, he might just do to zoom in, get the damage reduction, and fight. I love this change. The Thing is going to be eaten good next season, I think. Venom has a stickier grip, increased cellular corrosion's enemy slow from 15% to 25%. But unlike the Thing, Venom, not necessarily that great against flyers. I mean, he can jump up and attack them, I guess, but this ability is a bit better for dive targets that you're locking down, remembering that the slow is a bit of a means to an end, as there's a duration of time before it snaps for it to do a burst of damage. So it being slowed more makes it easier for you to track on the opponent and keep the tentacles on them so that it actually does and commits the damage that you're looking to do. Also, a small bit of CC and extra CC for you and your dive teammates to combo on. Human Torch, reduce fire cluster damage per projectile from 6 to 5.5. Reduce Supernova, his ultimate ability, activation shockwave damage from 80 to 75, and fire tornadoes from 120 to 110 per second. Add the team up anchor bonus of a 5% damage boost, which tends to be what they do here when they drop the base stats. The team up anchor sometimes splits the difference. That's what these numbers imply. Kind of strange that this is the way they go about it, but hey, an extra patch note, yay. Iron Man is getting a nerf. Reduce the first 2 repulsor blast hits from 40 to 35 and from 50 to 45 while in armor overdrive. Increase energy cost of his ultimate from 2,800 to 3,400. So this is important because they buffed, I believe in the last patch, that third hit when he fires both at the same time. So this means he still gets the benefit of that burst damage, but his baseline damage for those first 2 normal hits, whether in his normal form or in armor overdrive, just drop down a bit. So that means if you're accurate, particularly with that extra combo burst, you're still getting rewarded for maintaining that, but his overall general poke damage is going down a bit, and considering his effectiveness in the Ignite tournament, that tends to make sense to me, where he can kind of just stand in the middle of the team and output more damage than a lot of DPS right now. Mr. Fantastic has his inflated state bonus health drop from 400 to 350. I don't get this nerf, but as players start to learn how good Reed is, I think he's getting an uptick in performance, sort of being that duelist Vanguard hybrid. I've never picked him up yet, but I've heard from you guys that he is one of those anti-dive counters that you should consider because he has great CC and defensive capabilities, but now he himself will be a little less inflated. But I think you'll still want to pick him for that defensive mindset of play. He's kind of like the Vanguard version of the Thing from what I gather. Namor, increased Trident of Neptune's projectile damage from 70 to 75 and the projectile speed from 120 to 150. That's a huge increase in speed. So a bit of extra damage and much easier to hit this projectile now. Increase Wrath of the Seven Seas projectile speed from 120 to 150. So both of the attacks are at the same rate. Not only does this make the flankers that he already was supposed to be good against easier for him to duel, but now even better up against flyers, I would say, because a very fast projectile speed makes for very reliable hit connections on targets like Iron Man, Ultron, etc. Scarlet Witch, reduce max slow rate during her ultimate charge period from 35% to 25% and increase the damage from 750 to 850. So a few patches ago, they changed up Scarlet Witch's ultimate so that you do have some slow as you cast it, but you start to speed up gradually over time to catch out the enemy and have some opportunity for the enemy to counterplay, either to know it's coming or to punish you immediately if you whip it out at the wrong time, which is a sentence that I wish I didn't say out loud. But now the max decay is going to do 25%. So meaning even at that early stage of casting it, you'll move 10% faster. So pretty good. I honestly think Scarlet Witch's ultimate is one of the most underrated in the game. There's so many support ults that you can't kill anything in except for the big burst damage of Scarlet Witch, making it incredibly unique. There's lots of other area of effect damage abilities, but it, just like Iron Man's ult, is unique in that it deals a high enough peak burst of damage to actually find some eliminations in those otherwise chaotic fights where nothing can die. Spider-Man, Web Warriors Rejoice, increase Get Over Here's kick damage when pulled to enemies from 50 to 55, increase Spider Power midair damage from 50 to 55, and increase Amazing Combo damage from 55 to 60. Holy moly, the Spider-Mans are coming. If you thought that dive meta was over, keep in mind Spider-Man also gets a very important team up this patch as well. So flat buffs across the board to deal a bit more damage, but will definitely be extremely lethal once he gets that flame web also. The Punisher, Frank's turret is losing some sting. Cut Culling turret's projectiles damage from 12 to 10 and decrease the spell field damage from 12 to 10. Increase the energy cost of his ultimate from 3,400 to 3,700, which probably felt a bit required once he was easily be able to farm it up a bit too quick, and they had buffed it in the previous patch so that you can move and mow things down much easier with his ultimate, but now be a bit harder to charge for two reasons. One, doing anything will charge the ult slower because the cost is higher, but also simply just farming for damage from range with the turret, which is possibly one of the most underrated kit in the game. Like, that turret pounds. Like, you have to respect it. It's super easy to use. Just stay from safety and mow down the enemy. If you feel like you're not really able to make a foothold against the enemy's front line, the turret does that. Only Magneto can hold up against it. It's great against Groot, against Strange, against everything, because you have so much ammo that you'll be able to pressure through. Now, with 10 damage on both the direct hits of it, remember it's a projectile that explodes on contact, and the AoE, well, splashing into the enemy team will be less effective because keep in mind, maybe you're hitting 3 targets at once with that AoE damage. So 2 damage less per instance, that really starts to add up over time to now make it so that it'll be easier to out heal that damage with the high AoE healing especially. Winter Soldier, adjust Roderstern damage fall off maximum at 40 meters from 60 to 70. Important up against flyers and long range threats, Winter Soldier now does 10% more damage at his furthest range. 40 meters is a really long way. Like, even just hitting the projectile at all at that range is pretty difficult, but being able to maintain a bit more damage, that'll make him more effective there. Wolverine, that new team up is insane, but now also increase Feral Leap's strike duration from 4 seconds to 5 and increase its cooldown from 12 seconds to 15. Okay, so more downtime between uses, but I don't know. The impact of that is insane. He's going to deal fire damage with the team up and get lifesteal, and now it's going to have a 5-second duration of when he's doing the feral attack afterwards after he kidnaps someone. So even more effective at securing the solo kill against anything, frankly, but especially against tanks. Oh boy, that is quite powerful. It kind of seems like they are boundly determined to allow some of the most popular Marvel heroes to be top meta picks. Wolverine, Spider-Man, characters like that, definitely getting juiced this patch. But I'm not sure if Wolverine's playstyle is that popular. But hey, I've just learned to accept it, guys. I started to join the Wolverine army. And if I'm playing tank and getting clowned by Wolverine, I might just swap off tank to play Wolverine myself. Strategist, Invisible Woman. Sue's healing is a little more reliable. Now that's fantastic. I see what you did there. Increase orb projection healing on launch from 40 to 45 and the damage from 20 to 25. I don't know if you're ever doing too much damage with it. I actually didn't realize it was that low. That's a pretty negligible amount, but reduce healing on the return from 40 to 35 and damage from 20 to 15. But it's also getting nerfed on the return. So the reduce of the healing on return goes from 40 to 35 and the damage goes down to 15. It does 5 healing more on the front end as well as damage, but then 5 less on the return as it goes in and out. Invisible Woman was already one of the more reliable supports, so I don't know how I feel about this one. Doesn't seem to be too transformative though, maybe just a quality of life type change to slightly make her more reliable. Loki. Increase the energy cost of his ultimate from 4,000 to 4,300. Loki, one of the top performing characters, especially due to the power of his ultimate. If you have game sense, you can dominate on Loki just by picking the right ultimate at the right time. Mantis now, Healing Flower has a new effect and it heals allies by 2% a second. Reduce base healing down though from 20 a second to 12.5. So that means now the Healing Flower will be much more effective healing tanks because the higher their health pool, the more they'll get healed. We'd have to do the math on the different health points of all the different other characters, but for sure Vanguards will be more effective at being healed by the flower. I think that's pretty good because Mantis required you to play an all-out offensive style, frankly, because her healing was so mediocre. I like it because I like offensive-minded gameplay, but it was far less reliable than all of the extra healing supports that sort of just spew out reliable healing constantly. Increase the energy cost of the ultimate from 3,700 to 4,300, but it also increases the bonus max health from 100 to 150. But keep in mind, when you start to be able to heal more and at a percentage, I'm not sure where that's going to end up with when she gets her ultimate, which is ultimately all that matters. Ultimately all that matters. The ult costs more, but she heals more. So we'll see how that pans out in the end. Ultron, reduce dynamic flight acceleration effect time from 8 seconds to only 6 seconds and reduce imperative firewall bonus health. For himself, it goes down from 75 to 65, and for allies, it goes from 55 to 50. Now, we did cover this in the previous video, but we'll go over it as well. There are new team-up abilities. Human Torch and Spider-Man. Spidey gets a new Inferno Blast ability through his team-up, so he gets the other buffs as well as a new button to unleash against the unsuspecting dive targets. Good luck against Spidey this upcoming season. They don't explain this Wolverine and Phoenix one very well, but he's supposed to get lifesteal as well as an AoE burn attack, which is insane. I can't believe they did that one. But, you know, the Marvel Rivals, that's what this game's all about. Adjusted or removed the Spider-Man and Squirrel Girl. That team-up's gone. But instead, Squirrel Girl is going to get the anti-air auto lock-on team-up ability, adding on to the team up with Iron Man and Ultron. The Storm and Human Torch team up is gone, but the Jeff one's still there, so that's all the ones you really care about anyway. And now Hela will join the team up with Jeff and Venom so that her stun does an AoE pull-in effect. But I will note that looking at Phoenix's gameplay so far, Jean Grey, I'm pretty sure she might just power creep up Hela anyway, based on, it looks like she has a hit scan attack with a skill shot and then like other almost Human Torch-esque AoE abilities as well, and some mobility. Not as much as a flyer, but Phoenix looks kind of insane. Notable, these other team-ups got balanced. The Guardian Revival between Adam Warlock, Star-Lord, and Mantis now increase Leader Soul's and Nature's Soul ability cooldown from 120 to 135 seconds to come back. So they won't be up as often. And the Venom and Land Shark team-up increase Guardian of the Deep maximum bonus health from 50 to 100 and max Tendril Link period from 3 seconds to 5. which I actually believe is a nerf because you want the tendrils to explode, but you get extra health to make him more tanky at least. Guys, that's everything for the balance patch for season 3. What are you thinking about the Marvel Rivals balance direction? I think this one, while chaotic and crazy, I've gotten used to how nuts some of the ability kits are now in the game. And as long as they keep adding buttons for characters to interact that I like to play, I at least will have a good time playing this game. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed the video, please be sure to leave it a like, and don't forget to click subscribe and the bell icon to actually get notified when my videos come out. That's been it for me. I've been Frito. I'll see you guys next time.